Hello and welcome to Author Nation, the show that takes your author career to new heights. Today we are talking about email marketing for authors. I'm your host, Melody Ann, and I'm thrilled to have you join us today. Get ready for a fun and lighthearted conversation packed with valuable insights, all tailored to help you excel in the world of nonfiction. We are here to make your author journey profitable and enjoyable. Both are possible. As part of the Author Nation community, you'll find a treasure trove of resources at authornation.online. From writing tips to marketing hacks, again, authornation.online. It is also scrolling past you right now, and you'll find it in the description. Okay, grab your favorite beverage, sit back, get ready, and to unlock the secrets of email success as a nonfiction author. Our guest, marketing coach Bonnie Chumika, guides her solopreneur clients to get in front of more people, more often, and in more ways, so they can showcase their expertise to attract more clients. She exposes marketing gaps and helps establish going forward priorities. Her advice takes clients from producing random content to consistently creating strategic and compelling messages that positions them as the sought-after authority. With over 30 years in corporate marketing and a business owner since 2012, Bonnie has been in the content marketing trenches, going from being invisible herself to attracting clients from all over North America. Let's welcome Bonnie. Hi, Bonnie. How are you?
Hi, Melody. Great to see you.
Great to see you. Okay, my first question's not about email marketing, but I've learned that you live on Vancouver Island. So for people who don't know, it's a big island. It's not a tiny little island. And you grow a food forest. So what is a food forest? Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah, sure. A food forest. Well, my husband and I have a third of an acre. We're not talking hectares and hectares of land. We have a third of an acre with a house and a garage. And all of the yard has some kind of food tree, bush, or plant. Everything from almonds and hazelnuts to, oh, we're eating strawberries right now and raspberries probably next week. And there's apples and cherries and figs and grapes and just a whole myriad of fruit. And a lot of it is it's not like an orchard where things are separated. Everything is, quite close together, or shade things grow underneath different, a canopy. And right now for the summer, we're adding, tomatoes and cucumbers and squash and all that fun stuff to all that too. So it's fun.
Do you supply the whole neighborhood with food?
No, amazingly enough, with all that stuff, it's not quite enough to say take to a market, have a market table or something like that. Certainly some people benefit from our produce. Every year is different too. Some years you have apples, some years you don't. Some years you have strawberries, some years you don't. So, and most of the stuff we produce is it all ripens and it's ready at different times of the year. So it's not like everything comes all at the same time.
Yes. No, that makes sense. All right. So tell us a little bit about your career in marketing.
Yeah, marketing. Wow, that's I've been doing it a long time. I started in the corporate world. I was born in Winnipeg, center of Canada, and then I got transferred to Toronto, where I worked for what was called then AT&T Canada, and I worked in a marketing department of over 50 people. And I did that for over 15 years. So that essentially was my university education. So many things can happen in 15 years, you can imagine. And I saw so many aspects and experienced so many things in that environment. And then I got into the kind of small startup world, working in companies with, 10 or 12 people. You had to be more creative with less budget. I learned more about business working in a smaller company because you got involved in a lot more things, and certainly were involved in a lot more conversations. So that was an exciting time because that got me into the entrepreneur world, people that were risk takers and creative and looking for funding, and it was just a whole different vibe than working in the corporate realm. And then when my husband and I decided to move to Vancouver Island, there were no marketing jobs here. So I had to start something on my own. And initially, I started just writing content for people, blogs, newsletters, social media, and then that evolved more into coaching. Lots of people want to do stuff on their own, and so they were coming to me to figure out like how to create a content foundation, essentially. And then I coach them on how to be consistent, which we'll talk a lot about today.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. So in your experience, what are the main benefits of leveraging email marketing specifically for nonfiction authors?
I'm a big promoter of email. Certainly, I think most business people, most authors dive into social media because that seems so visible to people, and primarily because it's public. I mean, you can get on social media, different people can see you, right? But with you don't own those platforms. That's one of the biggest things. The social platforms come with a risk, and I think not last year, maybe the year before, I think we experienced that when Facebook and Instagram went down for a whole day, and it affected so many people's businesses, and everyone's like, right? Like, I think it made a lot of people rethink about, what social media means to people. But for me, the email piece, you have permission to be in someone's private space. The inbox is their private technology space. So if you're there, then you need to respect that. And if you are doing that and providing valuable content and things like that, you're building a valuable relationship. And there's a trust there that's different than on social media.
Yeah. So it sounds like the main benefits are you can't get shut down. Like Facebook can be shut down, or whatever can happen. Instagram can go down for a day. So an email, you can't get shut down. Another benefit is that they've given you explicit permission to send them promotional materials. You need to respect that and not spam them, and also give them really valuable content. But it is permission to promote your ideas. They're interested in promoting your ideas and promoting your products. And then was there another, did I miss one, or is that a good summary of those two main?
No, that's a good summary. Yeah.
Okay. All right, excellent. And so a lot of authors rely on social media, right? And there's, so it's hearing you say, well, social media can be good, but it can go wrong. So how do we get people from social media to email? Or should we be doing that?
Well, there's social media certainly has its place. I think when I coach people, I try to get them to a foundation of having a website, having some kind of an email strategy, and at least one social platform. And then they kind of all bounce off of each other. The first thing I'd want to share is that everybody has email.
Yes.
Not everyone is on Instagram. Not everyone is on Facebook. Everybody has email. So that's a chance for you to get that connection with people. And there's lots of ways to do that, whether it's speaking at an event or hosting an event or having a lead magnet or downloadable. There's lots of ways to build your list. But it's email also has higher conversion rates for promotion. I'm not sure what the statistics are. It's like 55 or 60% people are more inclined to take advantage of a promotion through email versus social media.
Right.
And again, that's because it's their private space. There's more trust there. It doesn't feel so much like advertising as social media does, when every time you're scrolling through, that seems to be all you're seeing, right?
Yeah. All right. Perfect. So let's talk about getting started. So if I'm an author, and I'll tell you, there are a lot of authors out there. A lot of my authors don't have email lists when they come to me. And so, it's about getting them on email, right? So what are some of the strategies or practical tips that you would tell people, or maybe the first 3 steps to start incorporating email into their overall marketing efforts?
Yeah, one of the things I was guilty of, when I started my business, I was all over social media, and all I kept hearing was, the money's in your list. You've got to have email, and I had 10 people on my list or whatever, and I mean, certainly it grew over time, and it's way more than that now, but I just kept putting it off because didn't I didn't know what to write about. I didn't think I had enough people, who's going to listen to me. And that's all mindset stuff, right? If you've got people on a list, you have their permission, they want to hear from you. So it doesn't matter if you have 10 or 20 or 100 or 1,000, you need to commit to the strategy. That's the first thing. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this email thing. And that's what I did. I was just doing random, every couple of months I might send out an email. But when I committed to, it's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this every week. And so that came out as, okay, well, I need a plan in order to do that. So you need to commit to the strategy, first of all, in any marketing thing, not just email, but you have to commit to it. And then there's always a plan around it. As an author, who did you write your book for? Right? Well, that's your target audience in social or in email. Who's your audience? What are their pain points? What keeps them up at night? What are their challenges? What are their aspirations? So those are going to lead to what kind of topics and content you're going to provide. And then you need to be consistent. So along with the commitment and the planning helps you to be consistent, which it could be monthly. If you're not ready to do a weekly email, then do it monthly and then increase the frequency over time. So that's really the key piece is planning, creating your own process.
Yeah, those are great tips. And what I'm hearing is, and I think it's so, thank you for saying this. It doesn't matter how many people you have on your email list, start sending emails. Let's say you have 2 people on your email list. Those 2 people don't know you have 2 people on your email list.
Exactly.
What they've said to you is, I'm interested in hearing from you. That's what they've said. I'm interested in hearing from you. It doesn't matter whether you're talking to 2 or you're talking to 20 or you're talking to 20,000. Those people are interested. So start communicating with them. So first, communicate, right? And then the second thing I hear you talking about is content. It's like, look, these are the people who are interested in your topic, your expertise, the topic of your book. And I'm just going to add, just because you think they've bought the book doesn't mean they've read and remembered everything. So use the content. You don't know what to write about? Use the content. Say, hey, I'm going to give you a summary of chapter 2 today, and give you some action steps on what you could do. Because when you do that and people read it, they might go back to the book and start reading the book again, right? And you're right. And then finally, consistency is what I'm hearing. So be consistent. If it's once a month, that's fine. If it's twice a month, that's fine. And that once you start and you have some consistency, you can increase the number, you can increase the consistency, because once you're over that learning curve and it gets easier for you, you can produce more in the same time. So start consistently, no matter what. That's what I'm hearing you say.
That's right, because you need to create your own process that's repeatable. Like you just said, that's what makes increasing the frequency easier to do. It's like, okay, now I know how to do this. And it's not just the content, it's the tech that goes with that, right? How to set it up in your email system, how to put a snippet on social media. So there's a whole pile of steps. But once you've done it a few times, it just becomes much more natural and easier to do more frequently.
No, I love that. So you mentioned that someone's email box is a powerful place. It's a private place and a powerful place to build relationships, to move people closer to a sale. So can you elaborate on how authors can leverage email to increase their visibility, show their expertise, and ultimately drive the conversions they want?
Yeah, think about people that you maybe sign up for their newsletter, or you've downloaded something. So now you're seeing their brand in your inbox. You may not always open every email that comes from that person or that company, but their brand is, subliminally etched in your brain. So that's what happens to yours. So the idea is to be providing valuable content that's going to hopefully entice them to open your email and read it. I mean, some people just don't have time to read every email, obviously, so they have to evaluate if this is worth my time to do that. So uh, coming back from the planning of the content that you're going to deliver to your audience, it needs to be of some value to them. It needs to have a solution to their problem or an answer to their question, whatever that is. And if you've positioned yourself as an expert in a certain area that's, affecting their lives, then they're more likely to open your emails. The idea is also not to be promotional all the time. You can't just send emails that are sell, 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 buy my stuff, buy my stuff. They'll delete you, they'll send you to spam, which nobody wants, and you've lost that opportunity of building a relationship, because that's what you're trying to do in an email. When you send an email, you need to talk to that one person who you're sending that email to. Even if you're sending it to 10,000 people, talk to that one person that's reading your email right now. So that's about building a relationship. And you mentioned conversions. It's okay to sell. I'll just back up a little. It's okay to sell or promote things. Just don't do it all the time. So usually an 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time, tell stories, give tips or resources, things like that. And then the other 20%, yeah, they know you're in business and you want to sell things. Sometimes people will be ready. They're looking for more from you. So there's an opportunity for you. And conversion doesn't always mean a sale, like a monetary sale. That could be, depending on the content of your email, that could be signing up for a course or maybe an event you're hosting. Or to book a free call, if you're in that coaching platform arena. So conversion is not always monetary, but it's usually getting them to go to the next step with you.
I like how you say that. You said one thing a little bit ago, which I just want to reflect on. You said, write every email to one person. And I think that is so important. And interestingly enough, that is the advice I give authors when they're writing a book. Authors come to me and this is for everyone. That's great. It's for everyone. Write it to one person. Because
right.
when you focus on one person and you're speaking personally to them, everyone feels like they are that one person. And so you use that same strategy in email as I do in creating a nonfiction book.
Yeah, you want to make a connection with somebody, you want them to experience you in some way.
Exactly. And the other thing I heard you say, which I think a lot of people forget in email, is positioning themselves, right?
Mhm.
It's you sign up for email. Sometimes there's an assumption that, well, they've signed up because they know who I am. And that's not always true. Sometimes they've signed up because they've had a hint of you, but they don't really know who you are. So in the first couple of emails, should we be positioning ourselves, and how do we do that?
Yeah, that's where autoresponders and nurture series come into play. Your email service provider, which, MailChimp, Constant Contact, Aweber, there's a whole pile of them. All of them have some kind of series. They call them different things, but they're autoresponders, for lack of a better term. So think about if someone, to what you were just an example you were just mentioning, say someone downloaded an ebook or a chapter of your book as a freebie. Well, you want to be able to send them a few emails. It depends on what your objectives are, but the first email is really to acknowledge and thank them for whatever it is they've downloaded and to make sure they've received it. So now you're creating that experience with you. It's almost like from a customer service perspective in that first email. And then the next emails, let's just say, 3 to 5 emails, you want to still send more value. So in the free chapter that you've sent, maybe there's something you can expand on, like in the second email, or a question or homework, or something that's going to engage them, get them to know you better. Why you wrote the book, like that could be another email, why you wrote the book, why it's important to you. So that gives a little part of your story. So that lets them know more about who you are, where you come from, your values, what drives you. So they're really getting to know you. You can send them to your social media sites. Hey, I'm on Instagram. Come and see me over here, or I'm on LinkedIn and I post different things. So come and hook up. So it's kind of keeping in their face, but in a gentle way. They call it a nurture series because that's what you're doing, is try to nurture this relationship, get them to trust you, so that when you're ready to make an offer, they might be in a position to buy.
Yeah, that makes sense. And part of that is introducing yourself and positioning yourself in the way that it makes sense, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they may not know what you do, right? As an author, lots of authors write nonfiction books as a marketing tool, because they want to sell that book or get people to read that book so they can come into their coaching programs or training programs, or whatever it is they're selling. So that's, if they've just downloaded a chapter, or maybe it's a checklist, or they came to an event, they don't know what you do or what you offer, but they like the stuff that you're producing. So you've got to expand that a little more. And once they're on that list, you have to set their expectations for what's coming in the future.
Yeah.
So if someone signs up for my newsletter, say on my website, then they're going to get emails indicating that you're going to receive more marketing tips. I talk a lot about content marketing, and all things to help your business. So that just positions me as an expert in that field, so they know what's coming up next.
Perfect. So if you're out there wondering about Bonnie, you can find more about Bonnie at www.bonnietomika.com. I've put it on the screen right there, and you can find it in the description as well. All right. We have a comment from Dual Brainer. He says, this is an important topic. I like YouTube as a social platform, but subscribers to my channel, as I understand it, are not mine to contact via email. They're actually the property of YouTube, right?
I believe exactly, just like any other social platform, those are not your people, and you can't email them. You have to entice them onto your email list somehow. Whether that's a free download or an event, or there's lots of ways to do that, but that's the key, is get them off of social and onto your email list, because then you can promote your YouTube channel through your email as well, so they don't forget, they don't forget about you, or they look forward to your next episodes, whatever it is that you're producing.
Yeah. Thank you, Dual Brainer, for that question. If you have any follow-up, please let us know. All right. So let's go back to consistency just for a minute. What are a lot of authors, like, I can't think of what to say. How do we? And we're building content for social media and for LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, email, our blog, our YouTube channel, and trying to be consistent on so many channels is really difficult. Do you have suggestions for us?
Sure. And the approach is the same for all of those channels that you just mentioned. It goes back to your audience, understanding who your target audience is, that one person, like even in social media or your website or your blog, think of that one person that you're talking to, and in the topics that you want to share, that are going to highlight showcase your expertise. So in order to do that, it again goes back to planning, committing to the process. Yes, I'm going to post, do my email this week, post on 3 social channels twice this week, so that it's easier when you plan it out. And to do that, you can have some kind of a calendar tool. Um, I created a calendar planning tool where you can map things out. If you're just using Facebook, you can map out your Facebook and Instagram posts on there. So it takes some planning and again your own process. And again about being consistent. So being visible, getting exposure, it really is about consistency. So the types of content that you come up with, those, okay, it's like I got these topics, now what? But they don't always fit. Think about like themes, for example. Maybe this month in June, all the things I'm doing with my marketing are related to email marketing. I coach people on content on blogs and all kinds of writing and marketing strategies. But let's say for June, my theme is email. So that helps me narrow down what the topics are. And there's a cajillion things you can talk about with email. So that's just one idea. You could do a chapter of your book per month. I used to have a client that I did marketing for, and that's what she did. Every month she took one of her chapters and she did a blog post each week, which turned into a e-newsletter and a post on social media. So that was essentially repurposing the information in her book and putting that out on different channels. You can do seasonal things. I often encourage my clients to go look geographically, like I'm on the West Coast, like yourself, Melanie. Let's look at someone in Florida or even in the UK. And they may not be a book author, but they may have the same topic as you or be a similar coach or business. Find out what they're talking about. What kind of things are they, what kind of content are they portraying? Because that can just spark ideas for yourself. And another way to get content is if you are hosting an event or doing some kind of promotion, kind of reverse engineer what that looks like. So if you're having an event, maybe at the end of June, what pieces of content can you and do you need to produce before that? And those types of things are not all just promotion, not just an invitation to my event. What other content can you, again, showcase your expertise that's going to entice them to come to your event?
Yeah, that was really great advice. First off, authors think they have to make up something new a lot of the time. And I'm like, no, you have a book full of content, use that. The other thing I hear is, well, I've already said that 6 months ago. It's like, okay, repeat yourself because
absolutely
different people are watching. You have new people following you. It's okay to repeat yourself. And then there was one other thing you said, and it's just poof out of my mind. It was the last thing you said.
About reverse engineering?
Yes, about reverse engineering. Great. I love that. Start with an event and then reverse engineer, 2 months and seed the idea. So by the time you get to promoting the event, people have been thinking about it because you've been talking about it. Fabulous. I love that. Okay, let's talk about getting our emails opened because this is, people are like, I'm sending these emails. Nobody is reading them. As I understand it, and as I've learned for myself, it's that email subject line that makes all the difference, right? So they choose whether to read an email based on the subject line, not the content of the email. So can you talk about capturing readers' attention through email subject lines?
Yeah, you're dead on. Subject lines are, think of your inbox, right? How many things are in there? In some ways, if people have followed you for a while and they really love what you're sending, the subject line won't matter as much. But if you're fairly new in their world, then it makes a big deal. The idea is to capture their attention and encourage them to open the email because they're not going to read your content unless they open that email, right? So some things you can do, first of all, with a subject line, the goal is to get the open. That's the only thing the subject line is meant to do, is to get that email open. It's not to sell what it is in the content. It's just one step at a time. Some other things, you want to try to create curiosity. You want to entice them to open emails. Something like, this really happened. Like that could be a subject line. That's like, well, what happened? Right now I want to open up and find out what's in there. It should be simple, not too clever. Sometimes people and I don't have a good example of this, but sometimes people can be so clever that you have no idea what they're talking about. So, and if I don't know what that is, I'm moving on, right? But it could be just something simple. Well, even like, this really happened. That's kind of clever to get me to open. Try to use keywords when you can. So, what are people searching for? Uh, what words are they using to search for the type of service or the type of book that you've written? So, if you can put keywords, and especially at the beginning of the subject line, that's
Yeah.
helpful. A sense of urgency. So this could be promotional, but it could also be, for something else. This is your last chance to buy this or sign up for this. There's a countdown, something like that. Don't miss out on this. So that's a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Trying to keep them short. It's interesting, and you can play with this a little bit because of metrics, and we can talk about metrics a little later. But with subject lines, I would wager that any email service provider has the capability to do what they call A/B testing. So you can test subject lines for one email. So put one subject line, you put two subject lines for the same content, and it goes out to, depending how big your list is, maybe to 25% of your list, and whichever subject line gets opened the most, that's what gets sent to the rest of the people. So it's a way to test your subject line, because that's what gets people to open.
Yeah.
There's think of subject lines. If there's a benefit, what are their pain points? If there's some kind of relief you can offer, relief for your marketing overwhelm, right? That's okay. I've got marketing overwhelm, and you're going to give me relief. So that could be a good social. So that's a few.
Nice. Now you have an ebook with 50 subject lines. Can you tell us a little bit about that? The link for anyone watching is in the description. You can go grab it there. But Bonnie, tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. It's 50 subject lines. I call it a swipe file. So that means you could take them and just input your own information, your own pain points, your own benefits, and they're put out in, I think, maybe 6 categories around urgency and keywords and those types of things. So yeah, it's a free download, and Melody will put the link in the show notes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So something that's been happening recently is we have these evolving regulations, and it's where do you get your information on what's new in the world of email marketing?
It's finding people, other authorities in your niche, essentially. I follow a lot of blogs, some that I've followed for years, and not just around email marketing. It's typically marketing in general. And I would suggest, doing a Google search for the best blogs about email marketing in your niche, right? In your
Right.
whatever it is, grief counseling, pet sitting, and they'll come up. They'll come up.
Yeah.
One event and this, I'd never heard of these people, but someone invited me to an event that's happening in November, and it's called Guru, Guru. The guruconference.com is where you'd find information about it. And it's all like these top email marketers, and I get all these tips in my inbox and on LinkedIn, and they had a Q2 webinar, and I was just like, this is what's happening in email right now. Because just like social media and algorithms and the things you can and can't do and what's working, things change daily and weekly. So just, find those authorities, someone that resonates with you. There's some people I follow that, I don't know, they just don't resonate with me. So you got to find someone else, right?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. So how do you, if we're sending emails weekly, how do you find the creativity to constantly write engaging, compelling emails? Do you have, and you write for other people, if when you're a content creator, you're in this constant creativity loop. Do you ever kind of run out of it? And what do you do to write, compelling, engaging emails?
I absolutely run out of ideas. And I'm one of those people that's really great at doing things on a deadline, right? On the last minute. So when you commit, I send out an email every Wednesday. So on my Monday to-do list is, okay, write Wednesday's email. And in my content calendar, I typically have what topic I want to do or what event. I promoted this event to my email list. So that was on my calendar. And then some days it's just, it's like writer's block for a book. Or a chapter in a book. It's like, okay, I'm stuck. I'm not sure. There's a piece missing here. And sometimes just stepping away from it all. And often what happens in my case, specifically for an email, a story comes to mind. So something I've done, it's something my stupid cat has done, or someone I saw in the supermarket, or something I've seen in the trees outside my house, or tasting this. And then I just kind of expand that story and decide what kind of business or marketing lesson could come out of that. And often I can ask people to reply, right? That's a way of engaging. I get very surprised how many people respond to my emails, even my autoresponders, right? It's like, hey, Melody, did you get my ebook? And they email me back and say, yes, I did. Thank you. So people engage with you on email.
Yeah. Yes. And such a good point. Something to highlight. Email is a two-way conversation. It's not an information dump on a bunch of people who are following you. It's a two-way conversation. People can reply to me all the time. I get replies from my emails all the time, and we just have conversations. We have email conversations. Sometimes they're turned into appointments. I'm open to communicate with you. This is not me telling you stuff. This is me starting a conversation. I like to think of my emails that way. Exactly. All right, let's talk about metrics, right? So what are the key metrics? What are the key indicators? What should I be tracking to see if I am successful or whether I need to make improvements?
Yeah, email is, I find email is easier to understand the metrics versus social media, like reach and all that, right? It's kind of nebulous. With email, your service provider will have some kind of indicator, and the first one that you'll see is the open rate. So how many people are opening your emails? So that's a way to test your subject lines. Are my subject lines working? And you have to do this over time. It's not going to be, okay, I've sent out 2 emails and I'm only at 5% open rate. You have to build, because you're building your email marketing skills as well. And marketing is all about testing. So that's why these metrics are really helpful. So in general, an open rate is how many people have opened your email based on sending it to your whole audience. And this depends on the topic you sent, the audience, and the industry. Should be between 12 to 25%. That doesn't sound like very much, but I'll tell you, my open rate is about 24 to 28%, and I'm really happy with that. And that's just an indicator, right? It's not, people are busy, they downloaded something of yours and that's all they wanted, and they never unsubscribed, or just they're away or busy or whatever, right? Not everyone will read every email, so understand that. So a 12 to 25% open rate is pretty good. The other one is the click-through rate. So within your email body of your email, if you have a link there, you've got a call to action, you want them to go somewhere, whether that's to book a call, to buy something, to sign up for an event, whatever that call to action is, that link takes them somewhere. So that's what the click-through rate is. If somebody clicks on that link, it shows that people are interested in your content and your call to action. It's like, okay, I want to sign up for that course. Okay, yeah, I want to book a call. So the click-through rate on average is 2 to 5%. Same thing. People will scroll through an email, and not everyone will take action. But that's a guideline. And the other one to look for is the unsubscribe number. And it's exactly that. How many people are unsubscribing? And it's okay if people unsubscribe. Sometimes they'll sign up and, later on they're not interested in what you're promoting or sharing, or they've changed businesses and they're not doing the same thing anymore. So your content doesn't make sense for them, or you've changed your business and those people are not resonating with what you're doing now. So those are all legitimate unsubscribes. And certainly all the people that signed up for you at the beginning, your friends and cousins and mom and everybody, that they're allowed to unsubscribe. Yes. This diagnoses kind of your lead quality, personal preferences of what people want to see. So your goal should be to be under 0.5%. If you're all of a sudden getting spikes in your unsubscribes, then something's wrong. You're looking either spam-like, or there's something in the deliverability mechanisms, which are hard to do much about. But really watch that you're not coming across as too spammy.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. That's excellent. So Dual Brainer has said, thanks for that offer of the 50 subject lines for emails. I'll be getting that after this is over.
Awesome.
Yeah, Dual Brainer, you've got it. You know what? Subject lines are not easy, and they are so important, because that is how people will get in touch with you and communicate with you. I have worked so hard on my email list, figuring out what it is that the people on my list want from me, how I can support them, and the tone and the voice of my emails that resonates with people. I've worked really hard at that, and I'll tell you, it is worth it. And Bonnie, today you have given me even more good ideas to take back to my own business, and I know that the nonfiction authors listening have also received some brilliant ideas to support their email marketing efforts. So I want to say thank you very much, and I want to ask you, where can people get in touch with you?
Best place to reach me is at bonniechomika.com. I see it there on the banner. You can download a free ebook with writing tips. There's a page that says free call. You can book a call. We can talk about your business and your marketing, how to set your priorities, what's working and what's not. So you can book a free call, and that's the best place to go.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate you coming today and giving us such fabulous information. All right. Thank you for joining us today. Author Nation is a community of authors for authors, with a blueprint for you to go from idea to successful nonfiction authors. Join us next week. We'll be talking with Leona Morrison from going from overwhelmed to successful nonfiction authors. We will see you then.